In the name of Allah Almighty, the most beneficent and the most merciful. I am here again with lecture number 5 of the subject, that is History of English Literature 1, from medieval to romantics. And the topic of today's discussion is the Restoration period. Okay. Here we have the lecture outline, the points that we have to discuss. Number 1, there is an introduction. Then we will discuss the Restoration period, which time period is called as Restoration period and why it is called so. Literary style of this period, which type of literature was produced at that time. Genres of this period, it means that in which genre literature was written, like was it poetry, prose, drama, or any other genre that we will be looking into. Next we have Restoration poetry, Restoration drama, and Restoration prose. We will discuss important poets, important dramatists, important prose writers, and also their works, and then I'll conclude this lecture with references. Okay, let's start. Introduction. So in English literature, especially in the history of English literature, the period from 1660 to 1700 is called the period of Restoration, because monarchy was restored in England. Okay, before going into before reading the further lines, I would like to tell you people the history, a brief history, that why it is called as Restoration period. Restoration is from restore, so restore, there is something that was restored. So what was that? It was monarchy. It means the kingship system was restored. The kings had started ruling the England again. So it means that there might have that something might have happened which had beheaded the kings, which had been dethroned the king. So there was a story. Okay, let me tell you the story. There was Charles I. All right, so he was basically charged for treason. He had committed a crime for which there was a penalty. You can say it was a death penalty. He had committed treason, of whom we also called as Gaddar. All right, so it was a Charles I. So what happened? There was a statesman, Oliver Cromwell. Okay, people started revolting against him and said that he's a traitor and he should not be on the throne. As a result, he was dethroned. All right, so a new statesman. There was a statesman named Oliver Cromwell. He then became the head of the government and the head of the England as well. So he was not from the the royal family or the royal class. He was a simple statesman. So when he became the ruler or the head of England, so there was no kingship system there for some period of time. All right, so when Charles II, the son of Charles I, who was sentenced to death because of his treason before Oliver Cromwell, so his son, he came and he just claimed his right over the throne, and he said that this is our right, we are from the royal family, and because my father was a king, so now it is my right to be a king. All right, so Charles I, who was the son of Charles II, who was the son of Charles I, he defeated, and he again came back to the England, and then he became the king. That is why this time period is called as Restoration period, because kingship system was restored. Okay, let's read it again. In English literature, the period from 1660 to 1700 is called the period of Restoration, because monarchy was restored in England, and Charles II and the son of Charles I, who had been defeated and beheaded, came back to England from his exile in France and became the king. So he was exiled where his father was beheaded and Charles II was defeated. So he came back in the England, and he was basically exiled in France, then he came back to England. Okay, after Restoration, what happened? The Restoration period, from literature perspective, in the first slide I have discussed the history. Now I'll tell you people the link of this history with the literature. After the Restoration in 1660, When Charles II came to the throne, there was a complete repudiation of the Puritan ideals and way of living. Okay, there is another concept that I would like to clarify. Okay, there was a Puritanism. We have also studied it in our previous lecture, that there was Puritan society, the society in which they were, they started believing, they became the followers of Puritanism. That was also a school of thought related in the Christianity. Like we have Shias, we have Sunnis, we have Deobandis in our country. So they were actually, that was also a sect. All right, so people started following that sect. So what happened after the Charles I? There was a reign of Puritanism, and people started becoming Puritan. But when Charles II came back to the throne, these Puritan ideals, they were also started moving away. You can say people did not follow Puritanism as they used to follow in the time of Oliver Cromwell or before that. All right, so what happened? Two things happened in political and religious perspective. Politically, the king was restored. Like Charles II became the king, and religiously, Puritan ideals, they were just repudiated, means they were eradicating, they were ending. All right, so these two political and religious changes took place at that time. Next, we have how we relate this age to the literature. It is called the age of Dryden, because Dryden was the dominating and the most representative literary figure of the age. He was John Dryden, all right, and he was the most dominating. Why? Because he had produced literature in the form of poetry, in the form of drama, and in the form of prose. So he had worked in all the three important genres of that time in which literature was being written. So that is why this age is also called as age of Dryden, and he was the most representative literary figure of the age. Yes, literary style of this period and what type of literature was written and produced, so we will discuss that. They renounced old ideals and demanded that English poetry and drama should follow the style to which they had become accustomed in the gaiety of Paris. So they renounced means to end up. They ended old ideals and demanded that the English poetry and drama should follow that style to which they had become accustomed in the gaiety of Paris, means in the style of Paris. They had an influence of France, and they wanted to produce literature having an influence of the French literature. So they wanted to bring the styles of the French literature into the English literature. So they did not want to follow the old ideals of or the old ideas of English literature. Instead of having Shakespeare and the Elizabethans as their models, the poets and dramatists of the Restoration period began to imitate French writers and especially their vices. So instead of following the footsteps of the Shakespeare and the Elizabethans, like Christopher Marlowe, Shakespeare, and other dramatists and poets like Edmund Spenser, Philip Sidney. So instead of following them, what they did, they started following the French writers and especially their vices. Vice means moral weakness, but vices in contextual setting, it would be something related to their style. Okay, genres of literature, particularly those genres in which literature was produced at that time are poetry, drama and prose. So we will be discussing the poetry of that age, the poets, then dramas, dramatists that who had written the dramas, and then prose. Yes, Restoration poetry, we have number one, as I said earlier, that John Dryden would be the most dominating figure in the Restoration age because he had produced or he had written poetry, drama and prose. So Restoration period was mostly satirical, realistic and written in the heroic couplet. Alright, satirical means having an element of satire, to criticize someone in an humorous way. Alright, that is called satire. If you remember these talk shows of like Hasbehal and then we have Khabardar in our country. So what happens? These shows, they basically satire the political figures in a very humorous way. So that is what we call as satire. Okay, realistic means related to the real life and written in the heroic couplet. Heroic couplet is a form of verse It is a poetry, it is a style of poetry in which both the verses of the poetry, they are rhymed and they have iambic pentameter, okay, of which Dryden was the supreme master. So we can say that John Dryden has written poetry in the form of heroic couplet, and he had written satirical and realistic poetry. He was the dominating figure of the Restoration period, and he made his mark in the field of poetry, drama and prose. This is what I have already told you people, that he had produced literature in all the three genres. Yes, the poetry of Dryden can be conveniently divided under three heads: political, satirical and doctrinal. Political means related to the politics. It can be anything related to the kings and the queens. Number two, we have satirical, and satirical is related to the satire that they do on the people, and like in a humorous way. And doctrinal, it is related, it can be related to the religion, or it can be related to the philosophy. All right, so of his political satires mean having this work is called political as well as satirical. Okay, Absalom and Achitophel and the medal are well known. So Absalom and Achitophel, it is one work, and the medal, it's another one. So it's basically a piece of poetry which had political and satirical themes. Yes, the two great doctrinal poems of Dryden are Religio-Laici and the Hind and Panther. The Religio-Laici is one, the Hind and Panther is another. So his doctrinal poems. And which poems are called doctrinal? These poems are neither religious nor devotional, but theological and controversial. Theological means related to theology, related to philosophy, all right, and controversial. Controversial, it can be related to the kings, it can be related to the religion, all right. The fables. The stories that he had written, which were written during the last years of Dryden's life, show no decrease in his poetic power. So he has written fables. Basically, fable is a kind of folk tale, a story in which he had also shown his poetic power. Next, we have Restoration drama. Okay, before studying drama in detail, I would like to tell you people a few facts about the Restoration drama. Before this drama was popular in the age of Queen Elizabeth, as we have also studied in our previous lecture, that in Elizabethan age there were dominant dramatists like Christopher Marlowe, William Shakespeare. They had produced the drama, and their dramas had universal appeal, means the themes and the subjects of those dramas can be applied till date as well, all right. The characters are universal, the themes are universal. They talked about kings and the queens and the common people as well. They talked about the serious subjects and the funny subjects in the form of tragedy, in the form of comedy. If you read the drama, you just enjoy it. Along with enjoyment, you also find some kind of moral appeal as well. You find some moral lesson. Okay, these were the characteristics and the qualities of Elizabethan drama. But when we talk about the Restoration drama, it was totally opposite. Opposite in a sense that the dramas written at this time of the Restoration time, they were not such grand work of literature as were the Elizabethan dramas. Why they were not grand? Because they were not written on such grand subjects of the kings and the queens. The themes were not moral and universal. Rather, they wrote on such things which related to the issues of the society, which has licentiousness, means related to the sex, and they were petty issues, petty themes, illogical things were there. So Restoration dramas were not that much famous. Rather, whatever had been written in Restoration dramas, they were mostly considered as comedy. Okay, so we have different dramatists. We will be looking into the detail. Okay, so let's start. The drama in England after 1660, called the Restoration drama, showed entirely new trends on account of the long break with the past. So it showed new trend. Definitely, I have told you people how new trend, because again I just want to tell you people, or again I want to mention, as I said earlier, the dramatists, poets, and the prose writers of this Restoration age, they were not influenced from the English dramatists and poets, rather they were influenced from the French. That is why they had incorporated the French vices. Vices means the immoral behaviors. Alright, so what they had actually imported such things from the France, and they had confined or produced in their own literature. That is why it showed new trends and long break with the past. They did not follow the past writers. Its appeal was confined to the upper strata of the society, whose taste was aristocratic, and among which the prevailing fashions and etiquettes were foreign and extravagant. So what happened? The appeal of these dramas were related to the upper strata. How upper strata? Because people related to the king, like class of the kings, elite class. Such people used to read, or you can say the watch such dramas, and only those subjects were written or produced and showed in such dramas which actually appeal them. Okay, I just have had an example related to our own culture as well. If you remember the Punjabi movies of 90s and 2000, early 2000, and we have like the characters of Gujjar and Arai, such type of people are there. So you see, at that time people had that kind of taste, because movies were produced and were written by, it was by such people who actually belonged to such class. So they wanted to have such kind of dramatization in front of them. That is why the film industry of our country had such kind of themes and the characters in the movies in 90s and 2000. So consider the same situation. The people of that time also like to watch such kind of vices, the topics related to the sex and the etiquettes and the fashions which related to some foreign and extravagant. Foreign means related to the France, related to the Italy, related to the Spain. So they wanted to own such styles and wanted to have showed such styles in front of them in the form of dramas. These new trends in comedy are seen in Dryden's Wild Gallant. Okay, so here we have the John Dryden. Okay, I told you earlier that he was a poet as well as dramatist. So John Dryden as a dramatist, his Wild Gallant, it is there. Then we have Etheridge's The Comic Revenge or Love in a Tub. That is his comedy, and William Wycherley is The Country Wife and The Plain Dealer. So George, his name is George Etheridge, and he has written these two works. His name is William Wycherley, and he has written The Country Wife and The Plain Dealer, and other plays are of Vanbrugh and Farquhar. So these are the plays by or the dramas by the dramatists of Restoration age, and they were not such serious, rather they were considered as comedy, and they were not written on grand subjects. The most gifted among all the Restoration dramatists was William Congreve. Okay, if we rate the dramatist among these eight, so William Congreve is at the top because he wrote all his best plays when he was 30 years of age. The well-known comedies are Love for Love and The Way of the World. So these comedies are basically written by William Congreve. Last we have the Restoration period, that is Restoration prose. Comparatively, if we discuss poetry and the drama, the prose is comparatively way more famous. Like Restoration prose is more famous as compared to the Restoration poetry and drama. Why it is famous? Let's discuss. The Restoration period was deficient in poetry and drama, but in prose it holds its head much higher. As in the field of poetry and drama, Dryden was the chief leader and practitioner of the new prose. The two famous prose writers of this age are, here we got only one person in poetry and drama who is famous, that is John Dryden. But we also have a famous prose writer, another prose writer along with John Dryden is John Bunyan. Both are John. Okay, so John Dryden written which works of prose? In his greatest critical work, Essay of Dramatic Poesy, Dryden presented a model of new prose which was completely different from the prose of Bacon, Milton and Browne. So what happened? He wrote a critical work, that is Essay on Dramatic Poesy, and Dryden presented a model of new prose, and it was different from the prose of Bacon, Milton, and Browne. That is why his prose was famous, because he had written something different from Bacon, means Francis Bacon, John Milton, Robert Browne. All right. Yes, John Bunyan in Pilgrim's Progress. So that is the famous work of John Bunyan, Pilgrim's Progress. In John Dryden, we have Essay of Dramatic Poesy. You just need to remember these names. They can be the part of your MCQs. So remember these names. Okay, in Pilgrim's Progress, Bunyan has described the pilgrimage of the Christian to the heavenly city, the trials, tribulations, and temptations which he meets in the way, in the form of events and characters who abstract and help him, and is ultimately reaching the goal. It is written in the form of allegory. Okay, so Pilgrim's Progress means pilgrims are those persons who just pay homage to their holy places, holy persons. Like if we visit Data Darbar, so it means that we are paying homage. And similarly, if we visit Khana Kaaba, the holy Kaaba, all right, so we pay homage to that. That is pilgrimage, and the person who travels there, he is called pilgrim. So he talks about Pilgrim's Progress, pilgrimage of the Christians to heavenly cities, like this their holy city, the trails means to follow, tribulation, the problems they feel, temptations means urges to go, which he meets in the way, so in the form of events and characters. So John Bunyan had described all such things in this Pilgrim's Progress, and it is written in the form of allegory. Allegory is a kind of poetry in which has dual meaning, literal meaning and contextual meaning. Okay, so I would like to conclude this lecture by saying that Restoration Age has great importance in the literary history of England. This age offered leading authors like Dryden and Congreve, whose contribution to the literature is memorable. So we have talked about other dramatist poets as well, but what we have done is that we have talked about or frequently we have talked about John Dryden and William Congreve. They are the most leading figures. So whenever the Restoration Age comes into your mind, just remember these two names. All right, so that's all for today. Thank you.